is time. It is time to brew your best beer.
The 2016 SJPorr Challenge is dedicated to your friend and ours, Paul Wickstein. Brought to you by Brewcraft USA, iMake, Gladfield Malting, Yakima Valley Hops, The Grain Bill, Brewers Exchange, Cake Kingdom Homebrew Supply, Hiraki Homebrew, and a special thanks to our silver sponsor.
What's up, ladies and gents? I'm back. I am way behind on SJPorr Challenge beers. This is only my second, and I've only got a few days left to get these done. Combination of being busy, and you might be able to hear a little bit. I got sick last Friday, and still hanging on to a little stuff, but I'm pretty clear. I didn't want to taste anything while my taste buds were affected from being sick. I'm good now, but I'm trying to get back into the fray. This is the Summer's Amber IPA. I like the label. It is 36T-92P-89Y. An easy drinking mild IPA for that thirsty afternoon when one just won't be enough. We've got 2-row, Crystal 60, Centennial, and Cascade hops. ABV is 4.5, pushing that limit. On the website says the Summer's Amber IPA is a mild amber IPA. This beer has a sweet caramel malty flavor balanced with mild citrus notes, measuring it at 4.5. It's just what you want to drink all afternoon while still being able to function. That is the definition of a session beer, right? Wow. Gracious. Alright, let's see what this looks like. The Summer's Amber IPA. Ooh. It's definitely, wow, it is carbonated. It looked like it might have been, wow. I don't actually, I was about to say, I think it looked in the bottle like it was bottle conditioned, but I think that may have just been stuff settling because that is brilliantly clear. Brilliantly clear. That is gorgeous. It is a amber color. It's a dark amber, but amber nonetheless. It is really nice looking, and it's got quite a head on it. It looks pretty darn carbonated. You can see some bubbles streaming up the sides, but maybe not overly so. We'll see. The head on it's really fluffy. It's got a kind of a mix of big and small bubbles, but a really nice looking beer. Kind of an off-white cream color head. It's got a nice nose to it too. It's not, it doesn't jump out at you. You've got kind of a malty sweetness in there. It smells like a little bit of caramel 60. And then you do have some citrusy notes on the nose, but it's not pronounced. The hops aren't really jumping out of the glass. Wow, that is a gorgeous beer. Nice. Yes, just some nondescript kind of citrus notes. Maybe some orange peel. I like it though, it's pleasant, it's very pleasant. Let's get into this. I'm going to try to keep these a little bit shorter. That's why I always do 3 sips before I start trying to evaluate. Let my palate adjust. So you can tell this is an IPA, but one that does have a decent amount of caramel malts in it. So it does have kind of a caramelly biscuity malt sweetness backbone to it, which is really pleasant. The hops are definitely there. You do get some of those kind of, it's like a little, to me, it's a little lemony, citrus, orange. It stays on that side of citrus instead of like grapefruit citrus. They're not extremely bright, but they're still there, and they're nice for sure, the hops. But the reason I started that sentence that way is I believe from tasting this that this isn't super fresh. And that's not a bad thing, but you can tell that the flavors have melded maybe a little bit. That these hops are a little bit once a little bit more pronounced. It is really easy drinking though. Not super dry, but not sweet either. It kind of sits right in the middle on the finish. It's not overly bitter. It's got a good balance of bitterness and sweetness, but it does move towards the sweetness side if we're talking about IPAs. Which is actually kind of impressive for a 4.5% beer, that you get towards the sweeter side instead of the hoppy side, the bitter. There is one, and the reason I like taking 3 sips instead of just one and then making a judgment. When I first sipped, I felt like I tasted an off flavor. And as I kept sipping, it was not nearly as pronounced, but I believe it's still there a little bit. And really, you know, I think it's an off flavor, but I think it's a phenol. Maybe from a slightly unhealthy yeast health. It's a phenol that's got just, I mean, I'm talking a hint though. A hint of a little bit of rubbery, not quite Band-Aid kind of flavor. But I'm telling you, it's just a hint, but it's there enough that I can taste it, but it almost blends with the hops well enough to where you almost don't even notice it. It was pronounced when I took the first sip, and then as I kept sipping, it became very much in the background. Still a very pleasant beer, though. It's well done. I mean, the recipe itself is really well done, and except for maybe just that slight execution flaw, it's pretty impressive. I'm gonna go do some quick scoring. May or may not come back. Back for a quick recap. Really well composed recipe here. I think there's a slight fermentation flaw, and then I think honestly, I think it's just probably on the downside of the IPA. I think the hops have kind of muted a little bit, so the aroma doesn't quite pop. The hops don't stand out quite as much in the flavor. Visually, though, this thing is a stunner. It has beautiful mouthfeel as well. Really like medium mouthfeel that's soft. It doesn't really dry you out too much. Pretty impressed with mouthfeel and the visual aspects of this beer. They're amazing, actually. Especially for such a simple grain bill of just 2-row and Crystal 60. But I am enjoying this nonetheless. And I appreciate the entry. This is again the Summer's Amber IPA 36T-92P-89Y. It has been a pleasure to drink. Good luck in the competition. Cheers. We'll see you on the next one.